All right, good morning, guys. Okay, so this is going to be our, can you hear me? Yes?
Good
Yes.
morning, Professor. Yes.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, this is going to be our last class. So basically, I prepare an overview of past few weeks from test 2 to test 3 with some materials. I can share it with you guys. Before that, if you have any question, let me know. And also, I just want to draw your attention to test 3, right? So you have to do the test 3 by today, okay? So just make sure you do the test 3 by today. And also the lab, basically the last lab 10, okay? So if you don't have any question, I can share my PowerPoint. Generally, these sessions are for question and answer. So I don't really, presumably I don't need to prepare anything now for you guys. You just come here to answer your question. But I prepare an overview in case you don't have any questions. So do you have any questions so far?
I finished the final exam, but I also did the mock exam. So I have one quick question, even though I finished the final exam. Can I share my screen?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, go ahead.
I think you need to enable me to share the screen. Because
let me see. I'm gonna make you co-host so that you can share. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me know if you see my PC.
Yeah, I can see it. Yes.
Okay. The only question I have is, okay, so the question here, it talks about the net income and then the revenue and then the variable costs. I got the answer, but the break even, the total revenue break even. I understand the concept here, but the only thing I don't understand is this: how can we make an equal sign between total contribution margin and the fixed cost? That is the only thing I cannot figure it out.
Yeah. So okay. So you can do it your own way too, right? So you basically need to find what's the contribution margin, and then total contribution margin means the contribution margin multiplied by number of items, right? So that's going to be total contribution margin. And we discussed this before, that if total contribution margin is equal to fixed cost, then you're going to be break even, right? So that's what we discussed last week, that you have the contribution margin, and then you can divide fixed cost by contribution margin, and it's going to give you total number of items, okay? The total number of items multiplied by contribution margin is going to be total contribution margin, right? So that's what's talking about, right? So fixed cost divided by contribution margin is going to be total. Is going to be number of items, right? So number of items to break even, right? So
Right.
then that number of items multiplied by contribution margin is going to be total contribution margin, right? Which is going to be equal to the fixed cost.
Okay, because what I remember is contribution margin equal to variable cost plus the profit.
No, contribution margin is equal to selling price minus variable cost.
Okay, got it. And then if it is break even, that means the contribution margin equal to the fixed cost, because margin cover the fixed cost. Okay.
Exactly. Total contribution margin is going to be fixed cost. Okay. Because contribution margin itself is going to be for one unit is going to be selling price minus variable cost.
Mm-hmm.
And then in that case, total contribution margin is going to be the number of items multiplied by each contribution margin.
Okay.
It has to be equal to fixed cost, right? To cover the fixed costs, and then after that, you're going to be more profitable. So.
Okay, got it. So you see my typing here: contribution margin equals to the price minus the variable. Okay,
Yes.
when even, that means they are both equal. Got it. Got it. Yeah, I think you
Yeah.
showed.
So,
slide.
okay. So the total contribution. So okay, contribution for what? Contribution margin for one single unit is going to be single price selling price minus variable cost. Okay. And now you want to know how many units. The total number of contribution margin. Okay. Yes. Total is equal to fixed cost. That's going to be break even. Yes.
Oh, because you want to emphasize the total units, right? Here,
Exactly.
it's just per item.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Okay.
That's right. That's right.
That makes
Units.
sense.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. All right.
Okay, got it. Thank you
How
so
are
much.
you guys? How are you guys doing with the test 3? Everyone is doing great, or I saw some people doing it already. Did it already. So yeah. So today is gonna be last day, huh? Just don't forget. Don't miss it.
I
right.
see that like the mock exam is much more difficult than the final exam. Even though I haven't seen the final exam results yet, but I feel that mock exam is more difficult than final.
More difficult. All right. Good luck with that. Then you have until midnight today to do the test 3. So I'm gonna port your mark by Sunday. So I received this email many times that people asking what happened to a mark in Blackboard. So I'm gonna import your mark from Breto to Blackboard this Sunday, and then I'm gonna mark you guys the Sunday as well. So I hope all of you guys pass. For sure, you're gonna pass. And if I see any place I can help you with that score, I will do that. Okay. All right. So let me just share my PowerPoint. Let me just filter for has permission and share my PowerPoint here. And then we go from there.
Can I ask one quick question?
Sure, yeah.
You mentioned that because I finished the final exam and the results of the final exam will be available after today, right? It will be shown on the math website.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You
Tomorrow.
said Sunday, You said Sunday. You mean you pull the data from the math platform to Blackboard? Okay, got it.
Exactly. On Sunday, I'm going to import all the marks from Veretta to Blackboard. So yes, on Sunday, I'm going to do that. Okay.
Understood. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. You're welcome. All right. Any other question? All right, I'm going to share my screen now, and then I go for the PowerPoint for today's session. Okay. We can see my. You see my PowerPoint?
Yes, Professor.
All right, sounds good. All right, so this is going to be just overview of what we learned in past few weeks from basically test 2. Okay, so what we learned exchange rate and applications. So we learned that how to convert from one currency to other currency, from US dollar for Canadian dollar, for example, in this table. So one US dollar is going to be basically 1.3241 Canadian dollar at this date. Okay, September 28, 2019. So every day this table can be changed, and we can use this table to basically convert one currency to other currency. For example, one British pound is going to be 132.6269211 yen. Okay, that's Japanese yen. Okay, that's how we read this table. And then, for example, if you wanted to solve an example, if one US dollar is 1.3241 Canadian, how many US dollar will you convert when you convert 300 Canadian? So in this case, is a division. We either have the division or we have multiplication. In this case, it's division, right? So we divide 300 by this number, we get the US dollar. For example, 300 divided by 1.3241 is going to be 226.56. Okay, or we can make it the exchange table, right? So we can do that as well. So one more example: if one US dollar is 1.3241 Canadian, how much will you receive if you convert 800 US dollar to Canadian? In this case is multiplication, right? So this is one US dollar is going to be that much Canadian. So 800 US dollar, how much Canadian is going to be, right? So 800 multiplied by this is going to give you the number of Canadian dollar, which in this case is going to be 1059.8. Okay, so you can also make a table for that, but this is just a multiplication. You either have multiplication or division. Okay. All right. So we might have sometimes buy rate and sell rate for with the bank, which basically bank basically charge you the commission. For example, in this case, we have another example that you need to also consider the commission of the bank. In this case, say Lucas approached the local bank to purchase $2,500 US. If $1 is going to be that much US dollar, and the bank charged a commission of 1.1%, how much in Canadian dollar would Lucas have to pay for $2,500 US? So first of all, $2,500 US we divided by this number to get how much Canadian it is, and then 1.1% of that is going to be commission, which is going to be added to the number which we find there. Okay, so in this case, let's do that. So 2,500 divided by this number is going to give us 3,310.38 Canadian, and about 1.1% Canadian commission on that. So it's going to be 36.41. You know how to convert 1.1% to the real number, right? So it's going to be 20 in front of it. Okay, 0.011 multiplied by this amount. It's going to be 36.41 commission. And the commission is going to be added to the number which we find for conversion. That's going to be total number of Canadian that Lucas had to pay to convert to have $2,500 US. Okay, so that's what we learned. And now, so this session is going to be very quick, guys. If you have any question, let me know in between. But we're gonna do it, I think, in 1 hour or something like that. Okay, I'm just going to go very quick overview of what we learned. Okay. So the other thing which we learned was trade discount, right? So trade discount basically is just the profit which the manufacturer put on the price, on the net price, to get to basically get the profit. That's called a trade discount. That it's basically, we can basically describe it as a term of percentage or the value. So percentage, basically you can get basically a percentage of the total price. So it's $100 divided by total price. Like the list price is going to be 20%. So you have 20% trade discount, or you can say, okay, $100 trade discount. Okay, so that's, you basically can say that. And basically the amount of trade discount, as I said, is the percentage of the trade discount multiplied by listing price. And then we can also find the listing price by just dividing by the amount of trade discounts by the percentage of the trade discounts. Okay, or we can find the net price. This is a famous equation, right? Net price is going to be L, listing price, 1 minus D, which is D is a trade discount, which is in the percentage form. Okay. So the list, let's do an example here. The list price of an item is $770. The trade discount is 20%. Calculate the amount of trade discount and the net price of the item. So net price is going to be list price multiplied by 1 minus D, right? So net price is list price 1 minus D. So 771 minus 0.2, which is going to be $616. And then the amount of the trade discounts is going to be list price 770 minus net price 616, which is going to be 154. Or we can do just using that equation. The amount of trade discounts is going to be the percentage of the trade discount multiplied by the list price, which is 170. Okay, so you can do either way. So find the net price and then deduct the net price from list price, or just using 20% of the selling price is going to give you the amount of trade discount. Okay. So also we learn how to do the series of trade discount. So for example, if you have 10%, 10%, and 5%, you have three trade discount on supply chain. So we can basically calculate like that. So we have the total list price of $500. You have 10% is trade discount. Then you deduct that. That's going to be 450. The 450 is going to be list price for the second trade discount, and then you have 10% of that, so you deduct that, so you get 405. It's going to be net price for second trade discount. It's going to be least price for third trade discount. So third trade discount, you have 5%, and then you calculate that, you find net price after third discount. Okay, so and then we learn also the equivalent series of trade discount, and we know the equation, right? That's the equation for series of trade discounts. If you have series of many trade discount, you can calculate the net price, which is going to be least price 1 minus D1, 1 minus D2, 1 minus D3, so on and so forth, right? So that's going to be net price versus least price for series of trade discount. And you can also say, so this is going to be equivalent to one trade discount. So that's trade discount, the equivalent trade discount. You will find it in this equation, right? So DE, the equivalent is going to be 1 minus D1, 1 minus D2, and 1 minus Dn. Okay, that's going to equivalent trade discount. All right, calculate the net price of an item worth $1,200 after 3 trade discount of 15%, 10%, and 5%. So the equation is very simple. So net price is going to be $1,200, 1 minus D1, which is going to be 0.15, 15%, right? 1 minus D2, which is going to be 0.10, which is going to be 10%, and 1 minus D3, which is going to be 1 minus 0.05, equivalent to 5%, okay? And then you calculate that, and then you find the net price, okay? Any questions so far, guys? All right. If an item with the least price of $1,000 discounted under a sales of discount 20%, 10%, and 5%, what is the single equivalent trade discount rate that represent all 3 discount rates? Okay, so that's equivalent discount rate, right? So the equivalent, we learn the equivalent discount rate is going to be 1 minus D1, 1 minus D2, 1 minus Dn. Okay, so this is, in this case, we have 3 discounts, so it's going to be 1 minus D1, 1 minus D2, and 1 minus D3. Now, so that the equivalent, we put it there. Let me just see in the lobbies. Someone waiting in the lobby. Yes. All right. So yeah. So just put there. So it's going to be 1 minus D1. It's going to be 20%, 0.20, right? 0.20. 1 minus D2, which is going to be 10%. 1.1, yeah, 0.10, right? 10%. And it's going to be 1 minus the last one, 1 minus 5%, which is going to be 1 minus 0.05. Okay, so that's going to be the equation. And now you put the stuff there, and then you find one single equivalent trade discount, which is going to be 31.6%. Okay. All right. The other thing which we learned 2 weeks ago was basically the invoice, right? So and the cash discount. So we learned payment terms. Okay, so that's a payment term. So in this case, that is the invoice date, which is December 23rd, 2019, and we have payment term of T over 7, 1 over 20, and N over 30, which that means that after invoice date, you have 7 days to pay. If you pay the invoice by 7 days after the invoice date, you're gonna have 3% discount. If you pay after 7 days, but before 20 days, you will have 1% discount. And if you pay after 20 days, before 30 days, you need to pay net price. And for sure, if you pay after 30 days, there are some penalty, right? Which is not mentioned in the invoice. Okay, so that's how you read these payment terms. This is seller name, this is buyer name, invoice date, and item description. Generally, the invoice has to have this. Okay. And this payment term generally, okay, so this is for big corporate, right? So small corporate generally don't have this payment term, but we need to learn it other if you're working for a big firm. Okay, so the payment terms like that, and then also there are 3 ways of dating. Okay, we learn ordinary dating, which is going to be invoice date. So from invoice date, we'll calculate this payment term, or you have end of the month dating, which is going to be end of the month which the invoice is issued, and also we're going to have receipt of the good dating, which is basically at the date that we receive the good, then the dating is going to be calculated. Okay, let's do an example here together. An invoice dated November 22, 2020 for $1,000 has a payment term of 210 and over 30 EOM. What payment will set to the invoice if it's paid on 1 November 28, okay, to December 06 or December 11, okay? So the first one, November 28, right? So the invoice date November 22, 2020, right? 2020, right? So and there's EOM, right? So from end of the month, you have 10 days to pay. If you pay within 10 days, you will get 2% discount. And if you pay within from 10 days to 30 days, you have to pay the full amount, okay? But November 28, even before end of the month, okay? If you are even before end of the month, and then that 2% is gonna apply, right? So let's do it here. Just put the chart there. That's the best way of doing it. You put the chart, you put November 30 as the end of the month, right? So November 30 is going to be end of the month, and then you have 10 days. So December 10 is going to be end of 2% discount period, and then you have December 30 end of the credit period. Okay. So basically, you have if you pay within 10 days, you get 2% discount. If you pay from December 10 to 30, you get no discount. But what happened to this area? This area from November 22 to November 30, you also get 2% discount because you paid even before end of the month, which is going to be even better for the seller, right? So you get also the 2% discount. So in November 28, you get 2% discount. Okay, so 2% discount of $1,000 is going to be $20, and you deduct it from $1,000, it's going to be $980. Okay, so that's going to be net price you have to pay if you pay on November 28. If you pay on December 6th, it's going to be the same because it's before December 10. So you also get the 2% discount. So you pay again $980 for that, and then if you pay after December 10, it's going to be December 11, you get no discount, so you have to pay $1,000. Okay. We also lend the partial payments. So if you pay partial payments, for example, $2,000 within the periods of discount period, then it's going to be a credit toward the payment, right? And then we figured out how to calculate that credit, right? The credit amount is going to be amount paid, basically amount paid divided by 1 minus D, which is a discount, it's discount rate in that period. Okay, so that's how we calculate the credit amount. Okay, and then let's do an example here. Caprice Industries bought furniture and received an invoice of $20,000 dated May 31st with terms 2010 and over 30. If they made a partial payment of $10,000 April 10 and settled the balance on April 25, calculate the total amount paid for the furniture. Okay, so in this case, so that's the basically the end of the month, right? And then 2010, it's going to be April 10, right? In April, until April 10, they will have 20% discount, and from April 10 to end of April, they had no discount. Okay, but they made the first payment on April 10, so this 10 is going to go credited toward their total amount, and it's going to be calculated using that equation which we discussed, right? So let's do the figure, basically the chart first. So the invoice date is March 31st, and they have 10 days. So until April 10, they can pay. They get 20% discount, and also from April 10 to April 30, they get no discount. So they made the first payment on April 10, right? So they paid $10,000 on April 10. So the amount credited is going to be $10,000 divided by 1 minus D, which is going to be 10,000 divided by 1 minus 0.2 because this is 20%. So $12,500 is going to be the credit, and that $12,500 is going to be deducted from $20,000, right? So the rest, they pay the rest on after April 10, so April 25th, which is going to be $7,500. So the total they pay is going to be the $10,000 plus $7,500. So $17,500 is going to be the total they pay. Okay. Any question here? All right. So yeah. So basically, any amount you pay during the discount period, it's going to be credited toward the final amount, and the credit amount is going to calculate the amount that you pay divided by 1 minus D, which is the discount rate in that period. Okay, so you might have like 2 payments or 3 payments and in different discount periods. So you need to basically calculate one by one, find a credit amount one by one, and then you add up all the credit amount and subtract it from the total amount to find how much you have to pay at the end. Okay, and then you basically sum up all the amount you paid in different period to find the total amount that you paid. Okay. All right. So what we learned also past week, I think, past 2 weeks probably, we learned markup. And what was the markup? Markup basically was the selling price basically is cost plus markup basically, and markup composed of 2 components, right? So markup composed of expenses plus profit, and expenses is basically overhead expenses, right? So many businesses have some overhead expenses, and that's how you calculate the markup. And then selling price basically is going to be cost plus markup, and then cost plus expenses per profit. Okay, this is for one single item, right? So this is what we learned two weeks ago. We didn't discuss multiple item, and then last week we discussed multiple item, right? So multiple item has then they have multiple selling price and multiple costs, which is going to be basically selling price and variable cost, right? So that's what we learned last week. But 2 weeks ago, we just discussed one item, which was basically markup for one item is going to be expenses plus profit, and selling price for one item is going to be cost plus markup, which is going to be cost plus expenses plus profit. Okay. And we also learned rate of markup. Basically, rate of markup is going to be markup divided by rate of markup by cost, which is going to be markup divided by cost divided multiplied by 100. Or rate of markup on sales, which is going to be markup divided by selling price multiplied by 100, right? So that's what we learned. Let's do an example here. A store purchased laptop for $1,200 each. That's going to be cost, right? Because the store purchased itself. The overhead expenses on each laptop are $250, so expense is $250. The store wants to sell each laptop for an operating profit of $400. Okay, so basically this is $250 is expenses, profit is $400, and then the cost is $1,200 because the store purchased the laptop. Okay, calculate the amount of markup. So the markup is going, as we said, it's going to be expenses plus profit, right? The markup is expenses plus profit. Expenses in this case is going to be $250. Profit is going to be $400, so it's going to be $650. And calculate the selling price. Selling price is going to be cost, which is $1,200 plus markup, which we already calculated, $650. So it's going to be $1,850. Okay. We also can make this a merchandising basically merchandising table, which you can put the stuff there, and then you calculate based on that. So, but you guys can just use the equation. It's just a very simple question. Okay. And then calculate the markup on cost. So we have markup of 650 divided by cost, which is 1,200. That's going to be 54.17%. And calculate the rate of markup on sale, which is going to be markup divided by selling price, which is 650 divided by the selling price, which is 1850, which we calculated in the last slide. Okay, so that's going to be 35.14%. Okay. Okay. The other thing which we learned was break-even price. So the break-even price basically is equal to cost plus expenses, right? So no profit. So break-even price, basically the price that we sell, which is without any profit, no profit and no loss, right? So break-even price is going to be basically cost plus expenses. That's what we learn, and also that's the only thing which we learn. Okay, that big, and then we also learn markdown. The markdown is basically the amount that we deduct from selling price to find to a reduced selling price, right? So reduced selling price is going to be S reduced is equal to selling price minus markdown. So, and the markdown basically, and you calculate markdown, the amount of markdown is going to be selling price minus reduced selling price, right? So because the reduced selling price is just going to be selling price minus markdown, right? Then you can find markdown is going to be selling price minus reduced selling price, and markdown, rate of markdown is going to be markdown divided by selling price multiplied by 100. Okay, that's going to be rate of markdown. Okay. And basically, when you mark it down, then your profit, your previous profit is going to be reduced, right? How much is going to be reduced? The previous profit, the reduced profit is going to be previous profit minus markdown, right? So that's going to be your reduced profit, right? So let's do an example here. A hat regularly sell for $62. Calculate the rate of markdown if it's sold for $49 during the sale. Okay, so it's going to be $62 minus $49. It's going to be $13 as a markdown, and rate of markdown is going to be rate of markdown. The rate of markdown is always comparing to the selling price. Okay, so it's going to be, it's not cost. Okay, so it's going to be $13 divided by selling price multiplied by 100, so it's going to be 20.97%. The rate of markdown on the hat. Okay, so always rate of markdown. You have to calculate always rate of markdown as a set on the selling price, unless it tell you find the rate of markdown on the cost, which I don't see any question like that. So always when they ask you for rate of markdown, you need to find it based on selling price. Okay. All right. So let's do another example before. Okay. So do you have any questions so far, guys? Because I'm going really fast. No question. Let me see who is in the lobby. All right, no one is in the lobby. All right. All right, so a store applied the markup of 25% the selling price on an item that costs $45 per unit. Okay, so 25% on the selling price. During a sale, the store marked the item down by 45%. Calculate the regular price of the good. Calculate reduced selling price of the good. Okay, let's do it here together. So markup is 25% of selling price. So let's do that here. So markup is going to be 0.25s, right? Selling price, and the cost is $45 per unit. So we can make that equation. Selling price is equal to cost plus markup. So selling price is going to be 45 plus 45, which is cost, right? Plus 0.25s, right? 25s, because markup is 25s, 0.25s, and you find basically s, right? So s is going to be 45 divided by 0.75, which is going to be $60. Okay, that's going to be selling price. And now okay, so that's calculate the selling price. Calculate the reduced selling price. So it's reduced selling price. You have 45% markdown. So 45% of the selling price is going to be marked down. So markdown is going to be 0.45 multiplied by 60, which we already calculated in the last one. So it's going to be $27 markdown. And now reduced selling price is going to be selling price 60 minus D, which is a markdown. It's going to be 60 minus 27, which is going to be $33. Okay, so $33 is going to be reduced selling price for the item. Okay. All right, the last topic which we learned last week was basically multiple item, right? Multiple item break-even analysis and basically cost volume profit analysis, right? So that's what we learned last week. Basically, what we learned a fixed cost, which is going to be the total fixed cost of the factory, which is making a multiple item, and also we learned total variable cost, which is going to be basically number of which is going to be variable cost multiplied by the number of items that we produce and sell, and then we find total cost. So total cost is going to be a fixed cost plus total variable cost, right? So if it takes a fixed cost of $9,000 and a variable cost of $8,000 per unit to create a car, what's the total cost of producing 4 cars? So total cost 4 car is going to be basically fixed cost plus total variable cost, right? That's going to be total cost. The fixed cost in this case is $9,000, and total variable cost is going to be 4 car multiplied by variable cost, which is going to be $32,000, right? So the total cost is going to be $9,000, which is the fixed cost, plus total variable cost, which is going to be $32,000, which is going to be $41,000. That's going to be total cost, right? And then we also learned the revenue, which is going to be basically selling price multiplied with number of items, right? So selling price in this case is a car was sold for $12,000, right? The formula for total revenue if 10 cars was sold. Okay, so it's sold for $12,000. Number of cars is 10. 10 multiplied by 12,000 is going to be $120,000. That's going to be total revenue for basically for selling those cars. Okay, so selling price multiplied number of items is going to give you total revenue, and then net income. We learn net income is going to be this is the important chart, right? So net income is basically is going to be total revenue minus total cost, right? So this is the important chart. This is a good chart that we learn. This is a fixed cost is always remain fixed no matter how many quantity of X you're selling. That's a fixed cost, is always fixed. This is a flat line. And now you have total variable cost, which is basically this chart, right? The total variable cost. This is basically this chart, right? This chart, this basic triangle, which basically when you produce more quantity, you will have more variable cost, more total variable cost. So total cost is going to be total variable cost plus fixed cost, right? Total cost is going to be total variable cost plus fixed cost. So that's total cost. And total revenue is going to be basically number of items that when you sell more item, you will have more revenue, right? So total revenue is going to be X number of items multiplied by selling price, right? So the total revenue is going to be like this. And the difference between total revenue from total cost is going to give you net income. So net income is total revenue minus total cost, right? So basically, that's how you calculate that. Total revenue minus total cost is going to be net income. Let's do an example here. A business made the total revenue of $25,000, a total cost of $28,000. Calculates net income. So total revenue minus total cost is going to give you net income. In this case, $25,000 minus $28,000 is going to be minus $3,000, right? So that's net income is basically negative, right? So that's this example. And then we learn also contribution margin. So what's a contribution margin? Contribution margin is selling price for one item, right? Minus variable cost. So contribution margin is selling price minus variable cost for one item. And then also you can say contribution rate, contribution ratio. It's going to be contribution margin divided by selling price multiplied by 100. Okay, so that's another thing. Contribution ratio, which is going to be this percentage. Basically, that's what we learn. A company produce shavers and sell them at $70 each. Their total fixed costs are $8,000 per month, and the variable cost $30. Calculate the number of units needed to produce per month to break even. So with that we learn, right? So the contribution margin for each item is going to be $70 minus $30, right? So the contribution margin. So one way of doing this is just can't do it on our head, right? So contribution margin for each item is going to be $70 minus $30, which is going to be $40, and total fixed cost $8,000. So how many units we have to produce to cover the fixed cost is going to be $8,000 divided by 40, which is going to be 200 units. Okay, the 200 units basically we cover the fixed cost, and if you sell more than 200 units, we are in profit, right? So, but the question is just to break even. So it means that how many units you sell to break even. So it means that how many units you can sell to cover the fixed costs. Okay, so it's going to be 200. Okay, that's one way of doing it. And you can do it in your head. The other way of doing it is just using the equation. Okay, so sometimes using equation is good. Sometimes just doing it in head is fine as well. So just make sure that you're comfortable to do it in your head. Okay. All right, so let's do it in the equation way, which PowerPoint advertise all the time. Let's basically presume the number of units that we sold is X. So what's the total revenue? Total revenue is going to be selling price multiplied by X, so it's going to be 70X. And total cost is going to be fixed cost, which in this case is $8,000. Plus total variable cost, which is going to be variable cost multiplied by X. Variable cost in this case is 30, okay? So basically you're going to have, in break even, you're going to have total revenue is equal to total cost. So in this case, it's going to be 70X equal to 8,000 plus 30X. And now we isolate for X. X is going to be 8,000 divided by 40 that you already did in your head, okay? But you can do it in the equation as well. So X is going to be 200 units, okay? So if you want to use a financial calculator, right? So we learned the financial calculator, right? Let me just bring up my financial calculator, but let's see. No one's in lobby. Okay, let me just bring the financial calculator. Yeah, so financial calculator, you go here to break even, right? Second, break even. Okay, we go there. Let me just clear work first, make sure to clear work. So suppose that you have fixed cost of $1,000 set. You have variable cost of $20 set. You have selling price of $30 set. And now you want to know what's the break even, right? So put the profit at 0, break even, and then you find the quantity, CPT 100 quantity, right? So you can basically play with this. So presume you have 120 quantity instead of 150 quantity instead of 100 quantity. Now you can find the profit, CPT on profit, okay? And now you presume you have a different profit, like $2,000 profit, okay? And you want to know how much selling price you want to charge. And the selling price is going to be 40, right? So as I said, you have 4 quantity. You can find the 5th quantity with that, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quantity. You set 4 quantity. You find the 5th quantity anywhere in this calculator, okay? That's very fast, okay? All right, let's do this in the calculator. A company sells an item for $60. Their fixed costs are $2,000 per month, and the variable cost per unit is $15. Okay, calculate the number of units need to be produced and sold per month to break even. Okay, so let's do that in calculator together. Okay, let's just clear everything first. Now, fixed cost is going to be 2,000, right? 2,000 is going to be fixed cost. Variable cost is 15, right? 15 is variable cost. And selling price is $60, $60 selling price. And now they said break even, so profit is 0, it's fine. And now we want to know quantity, 44.44. And since 44.44 doesn't make any sense, we do 45, right? So we round up all the time, guys. Even if it's 44.01, you make it 45. So always round up, okay? Always round up in this case, okay? Okay, it's the last thing which we learned in this course was cost volume profit analysis, right? So in that case, you can make that equation, right? This is total revenue S multiplied by X, right? Selling price by number of unit. Fixed is equal to fixed cost plus variable cost, total variable cost, right? Which is going to be X number multiplied by variable cost plus net income, right? So that's the whole thing which we learned. That's all the thing in one equation. Total revenue equal to total cost, right? Plus net income. That's the whole equation in the term of variable X, right? So, and if total revenue greater than total cost, then net income is positive. If it's total revenue less than total cost, then net income is negative. Okay, and then you can basically isolate x in this equation, right? You can isolate x in this equation. X is going to be basically fixed cost plus net income divided by contribution margin, which is going to be selling price minus variable cost. So that's the total equation. Okay, if you have fixed cost and net income, but you want to know what's the number of x. Okay. Let's do an example here. Sanjay runs a furniture company. He has fixed cost of $3,000 per month and variable cost of $40 per unit. He sells each unit for $50. Calculate his break-even volume and revenue per month. Okay, so let's presume that you have. You can use calculator as well, but let's do it basically using the pen and paper. So basically. So you want to know what's the break even, right? And revenue per month. So in this case, you have total revenue is going to be selling price multiplied by X. Selling price in this case is going to be 50 multiplied by X is going to be 50X. Total cost is going to be fixed cost, which is in this case is $3,000 plus variable cost multiplied by X. Variable cost is 40 multiplied by X is going to be this equation. So $30,000 plus 40X. And now in break even, you have total revenue is equal to total cost, right? So we put total revenue equal to total cost. 50x equal to 3,000 plus 40x. So you will remove 40x from the right side to find x, okay? And x is going to be 300, right? So 300 is going to be x, okay? And the total revenue is going to be x multiplied by s, right? So that's total revenue. So So total revenue, it doesn't say it here, but total revenue is going to be 300 multiplied by 50. It's going to be $15,000, right? And now we can also do it in calculator, right, as well, right? So calculator is even easier, right? So let's do it in calculator together. Fixed cost is $3,000. $3,000 is going to be fixed cost, and now variable cost is 40. Is a variable cost, and selling price is 50. Selling price is 50. Profit is 0 because we want to know what's the break-even point. And CPT on Q is going to give you 300. Okay, so 300 is going to be the number of items sold. Okay, and the revenue, as I said, is 300 units multiplied by selling price, which is going to be $50, and 300 units is going to be $15,000. Okay, total revenue. All right, if let's do another example. There's another question for this. If he increased his selling price by 10%, calculate his new break-even point volume per month. Okay, so now selling price increased by 10%. It means that instead of selling for 50, it's going to selling for 55, right? How do we calculate it? 10% of the selling price is going to be 5. Added to 50 is going to be 55, right? So that's easy. Okay, or we can multiply the selling price by 1.1. Okay, 1 plus 10%, 1.1, right? So like this, okay? That's new selling price, and now you have new selling price. Again, you make the same equation, and now you find X, okay? So in this case, X is going to be 200, okay? You can also use the calculator. Let's do it in calculator. Now everything is the same, right? The fixed cost is the same, variable cost is the same, but you change the selling price. Profit is still 0, and the CPT on Q, you find the Q, right? So 200 is going to be Q. All right. Oops. Okay, that's it. So that's it. So that's what all about. Okay. So yeah. So that's any question, guys? That was really fast. So any question? All right. I stopped sharing. So any question, guys?
No question, Professor. Thank you. Thank you for review. It was so.
Thank you guys for listening. So yeah, it's just one more reminder. Today, you need to do the test 3. Okay, just do the test. Do test 3 before the time is over. Okay, and good luck with that. And I will on Sunday basically I will import the whole mark on Blackboard, and I will basically submit your mark by Sunday and end of Sunday. So basically submit your mark. Good luck to you guys. I hope all of you guys get A+. I'm sure many of you guys are gonna get A+. You guys who especially come to this session because this is just a review session. All right, guys. Good luck with that. I'm very happy to teach you this class this term. I hope I can teach you more classes in next term. So and I hope I see you guys on campus, because next term I have some class on campus as well. So all right, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Thank you.
Your video
Bye-bye.
career, guys. All right. Okay. Bye.